Welcome to episode 276 of the Bear Trap on the Boom Bus channel, a Bears podcast by a Bears fan. I'm your host, Terry. Happy holidays. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. And yes, I am here almost exactly a year from the last time I talked about this. And it was funny because obviously we had a bye week and we're playing the late game. So I was like, man, I haven't talked about the Bears in a while. The games are going on, whatever. Let's talk about the Bears. And there's a couple things I wanted to talk about, but I was like, what's really on my mind? And this is what is on my mind. And I just so happened, because I'm like, I knew I mentioned this before, but I didn't realize it was almost a year to the day that I mentioned this, where I said last year we should move on from Matt Nagy. And I agree still. I mean, when we look at it, he has not been a good head coach. So, I know that ruffles a lot of people's feathers because for some reason, I guess it's just misinformation, but for some reason we have this tribe of Trubisky supporters, this tribe of Nagy supporters, this tribe of Pace supporters, this people that think it's all this person's fault, people that think it's all that it's all over the place, which to me is interesting. But at the end of the day, when we're just focusing in on Nagy, I've said last year that we needed to move on. I said it about Nagy, and then I said it about Nagy and Pace in the offseason. I was like, if it was me, I would move on. And it's for the same reasons that I mentioned last year and that we still see. And that's just that he's not a good head coach. I mean, I went back and listened to what I talked about when he was first hired. And again, I wasn't going to condemn or do any of that. I'm going to give a guy a chance. But the facts remain, it was his first time. He only been a coordinator like 5 seasons or something like that. I forgot the number, but he only called plays for 5 games. He had a lot of people backing him, but there was nothing to suggest that he was primed to be a great head coach. And so we just had to wait and see. And we've seen enough. We've seen enough because contrary to popular belief, a lot of casual fans get this twisted. Being a head coach is not a whole lot about knowing football, X's and O's wise. We see that happening a lot with coordinators where people are like, or we used to be like, okay, you put together a good offense or a good defense, you might be a good coordinator. And then you put it together for multiple years. You're like, okay, you're a good coordinator. And then nowadays, it's like, oh, you're a good coordinator, you must be a good head coach. Also, it doesn't even take multiple years, just 1 year. Oh, you had a good unit? Oh, you must be a good head coach. That's not how it works. That's not how it goes. These are 2 very different jobs. And so when we're talking about being the head coach, and the reason I say it's very little about the X's and O's is because what your main job is as a head coach is to set everybody up and put them in the right place to succeed. And so I was a business major back in the day. My minor was organizational leadership, which obviously is about business, but a good amount of my classes were leadership theory. And in most theories, they talk about leadership as in removing obstacles so that the people you lead can succeed. And that's essentially what you do as a head coach. You have to adjust things. You have to put people in the right place so that this whole machine of a bunch of different parts can run smoothly. And that's why you see so many issues, because there's coaches that don't want to put people in a place. They don't trust them, or they want to do it themselves. You see coaches, they want to pick the players as well as coach. They want to call the plays as well as be the head coach. They want to put their hands in stuff. You see, Jerry Jones wants to be the GM and not just the owner. That's kind of a different example, but still the same. You get these situations where people come into conflict because they want to do more. They don't want to trust people to do their job. They don't want to give them responsibility. And so they try to do too many things, or they have too much ego about it. And a lot of issues come up that way, because in the natural sense, a head coach would be able to find the right people and assess who has the ability, who has the talent, put them in position where they can make the choices, and then let them make those choices and help adjust as you go. Because you might find out, man, my coordinator struggles with this. Maybe I need to help him do this. Or maybe this coach is really good at his position, but he's also good at this. Maybe we can find more responsibilities for him. Or, whatever. This player, my team is feeling like this. I need to get them going with this. Or my team is struggling in this certain area. Let me make sure the coaches are working with them this week on this. Those are the things head coaches do. They prepare you and they set you up to win, because I'm telling you, there's especially in the NFL, and I know the NFL guys, they don't respect you at all until they show that you can help them get better. You've heard many players say this, and I've seen it in real life. When you show that you are actually able to add something to help them get better, that's when they start listening. And so your job is to prepare them for what's going to happen on the coach level. And so as a defensive tackle coach, I need my defensive tackle to know through practice and everything, what happens if this lineman goes right past me and to the linebacker? What should I do? It's my job to prepare him so he knows what to do in that situation. And I do that in practice in the film. And then when we're in the game and it happens, he knows what to do. As a defensive line coach, as the whole line, when we run this stunt, my defensive tackle needs to know, okay, what happens if the DN stunts here, the tackle runs with him, and I loop around? What am I supposed to do? They need to know that. And then it goes up and up and up. You need to prepare them for what they need to do. That's the job of a coach. Now, the coordinators, while the coaches is more about the how we get it done, the coordinators are more about what are we trying to get done. And they game plan, they set it up, all that good stuff. And so you got to understand the levels of it. But either way, it's the head coach's job to bring it all together so that people are ready to go on the field and play. And so when you think about Bill Belichick, you hear on the media side, the fan side, defensive guru, king of switching up the schemes and everything else. He's genius this. But what do the players actually say? Almost consistently, he gets us prepared for every situation. He gets us prepared so we know what is going to happen. Through practice, we understand exactly what's going to happen, so we know how to execute, and then it's up to us to do it. That's the biggest thing Belichick does as one of the great head coaches. And so parlay that over to Matt Nagy. That's the biggest issue I have, is that he does not have our team prepared, especially the offensive side. Now, obviously, we know the dynamic since he got here is he kind of just more does the offense. But obviously, he's the head coach and all that. But he prepares the offense more so than anything. And the offense just has not looked good. They don't look prepared. They don't look like they know what's happening. Defense, we know what's happening. We give up plays and stuff happen. We bend but don't break. We know how to bear down. But offensively, it just seems like we don't even know how to get set up sometimes. And we don't know how to adjust to what we're seeing and how to attack it. And penalties and time management and all that, it's just bad. And so when you have a head coach that's not even getting the team prepared, that's a huge red flag. And so I go back to when he was hired. And again, my trepidation, not to say that he couldn't do it, but my trepidation was, can he learn to be a manager? Can he learn to be a head coach? Because it's not just calling plays and all that. That's not what head coach is. And he's shown over the years he's not good at the head coaching parts that he needs to be good at, whether that's clock management, whether that's getting the team prepared, whether that's in-game adjustments. I don't care if he's a good play caller or not. I said that from the beginning. whatever. You don't need to be the play caller, but can you manage the team? And it just seems like we have not been that good. We rode the coattails of the defense 2018 on an easy schedule, and it all felt good. But now that we had controversy, now that we had to, or adversity, I should say, and we had to fight through and be ready for big games, we fell flat. And so, and I personally, I'm not a gigantic fan, and maybe I was more of a fan before, but I'm not a gigantic fan of the, hey, you coach offense, I coach defense, and you be a glorified offensive coordinator or whatever. Like, I kind of understand the value of having somebody that is over that. And it sets you up. It sets you as a coordinator up for what you got to do, sets the practice up, does all the things, sets you up for all that. But then you as the coordinator and all that, you do your actual thing. But this idea that the head coach needs to be a glorified coordinator, I'm kind of shying away from that. And I would much rather like to see us bring in somebody that can command the team and get us disciplined too. That's another issue. Get us disciplined, get us on one step, because right now it feels very much like a house divided. I think it felt that way when Wade Phillips came in with the Rams at first, and then they gradually, McVay understood he had to be more the head coach. And we aren't at that point with Nagy, and I feel like we need to bring somebody that is, where it's not, okay, it's your defense and then it's my offense. It's, no, this is my team and this is how we run it. And so, and again, that's the other thing is, like, some people just aren't good head coaches. That doesn't mean you're not a good coach. Position coach doesn't mean you're not a good coordinator. It's just you're not built to be a head coach. And he's so young, he could be later, but he needs to take this experience, go somewhere else, continue to cut his teeth. Now, I think these players or these coaches get better, honestly, because then they get to go back to the position or the coordinator role or whatever, and they know what to look for. So now they're watching the head coach operation, and they know what to look for because they did it. And now once they get their second opportunity, they're a little bit better off. So I think that's what we need. Matt Nagy needs to roll. The other thing I would say is I'm cool with keeping Ryan Pace, because at first I was like, get rid of Ryan Pace and everything, but Ryan Pace has been solid. He's been a solid GM. I thought he would be one type of way when he first came in, but he hasn't been the in-your-face, power-hungry type guy. Obviously, I'm not in the building. I don't know how it goes down. But from the outside looking in, it really feels to me like Ryan Pace actually talks with Nagy and sees what he wants as a coach and goes to get it for him. And it's a collaborative effort like most people say it is, but it's not always like that. But this actually seems like it is. So that I at least really respect that part, because he stays in his lane. The other thing is he came up in but he came up in the natural lane. Like Nagy didn't. Nagy just popped up and got this head coaching job because of a wave. Ryan Pace actually went the actual route, and he cut his teeth, and he has the knowledge. And he's been good with a good amount. Like, I don't think he's had no misses. Obviously, he's missed. But I think he's definitely had hits that you have to respect. So you had bringing in Akeem Hicks from his knowledge with him before. You had Danny Trevathan plucking him from Denver. And then you had obviously Allen Robinson bringing him in. But then drafting, I think Mooney, Robinson, and Miller could be 1,000-yard receivers on other teams. I honestly do. And so, they brought those people in, and he continued to add those different pieces, even though he's missed. Obviously, like I said, he's missed. But to me, looking at our roster, we're not that far away. And that's impressive to me because at the end of the day, you know, a good quarterback would put us over the hump. But yes, he missed on Trubisky, but I'm not really holding that against him because that's not a unique situation. A lot of people miss on quarterbacks, and it hurts when you miss on a quarterback, no matter who you are. That's just not a Chicago Bears thing. That's anybody. When you miss on a quarterback, it hurts. It hurts for a while, and you kind of got to live with that. But at the same time, in my mind, you identified who your guy was, and you went after him, and it didn't work out. I'm not going to hold that against him. And so, that's how I feel. That's how I feel about that. So I'm fine with keeping Ryan Pace, to be honest with you. I think he knows how to get players, or I think he's solid at understanding players, especially pro players. I think that he's shown that he can be aggressive to go get things. Khalil Mack is the other person I was thinking of. When he wants to go get it, he'll make it happen. And so I feel comfortable with him returning and then just bringing in a different head coach to get this thing in a better direction. And then obviously you want to get to a point where you get the offensive line better taken care of and where you get the quarterback situation right. But I have more faith that he's going to have the ability to get that done than, say, a Matt Nagy to just become like a top tier head coach. So anyway, that's it. That's how I feel at the moment. And no, not the moment. I felt that last year. Been saying that for a minute, still feel that, and I think that's the move. So go to the comment section. Let me know what you think. Happy holidays. Enjoy all that. Share it around. Get the conversation started. Thumbs up, subscribe, and remember, stay up and bear now.